So welcome back to the Iced Coffee Hour with Graham Jack, and we got Financial Education Jeremy. Now, for those that don't know you got a YouTube channel. It's called Financial Education, and then you have Financial Education 2. Yep. So we're going to be going into some of your background, but also in this episode, we're going to be talking about the stock market, how you got started, how you built your wealth pretty significantly, I would say, over the last few years. Doing YouTube full time, what you think is a good investment right now. We're going to be talking about the Roni Rona situation.
Holy smokers, yeah. This ain't no jokers. Roni Rona.
Some of the worst investments you've made, some of the best investments you've made, whether or not it's worth it to go to college. What else am I forgetting?
Gambling.
Oh, yeah, gambling.
How Graham always wins and you always lose.
I know, it's amazing.
It's going to be an exciting episode. Is there anything else I missed that we're going to be talking about today?
There's a lot more than that, but I think that's some of it.
So you guys are
Hertz. We're going to talk about Hertz.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about Hertz. So it's going to be a really interesting episode, but first, let's start with this.
Welcome back to the Iced Coffee Hour, folks. Holy smokers, this ain't no jokers. I am on the podcast with Mr. Jack over here and Mr. Grahamstephan. Thank you for having me, and I made sure I had to troll a little bit. Let me just say, first off, I'm not a fan of Starbucks anymore. They wrote Jerry instead of Jeremy. Come on, man.
Jerry.
Come on. $6 for this, and you can't spell my name right.
You spent $6 on that? Did you really?
Almost.
Something like that.
Like $5.75, yeah.
That's insane. It's a vanilla latte, for anyone who's not aware. 20 cents. This is stronger than that. It's all cream. Really, they only give you that much coffee. The rest is ice, and then the rest of it is cream.
Yeah. And imagine if I invested that $6 and got just a 10% return.
Oh, I know.
My goodness.
So anyway, for those who are not aware, you run one of the largest stock trading channels on YouTube. Really?
Yeah, I would prefer to say stock investing, but stock market investing. Yeah, okay. So Financial Education, my main channel, and then I have the second channel, Financial Education 2. And we just talk about stock market investing all the time. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I love it. That's what I love to talk about.
Yeah, but you didn't start off with that.
Correct.
You started off with real estate photography, was it?
Yeah. So I started out with a real estate photography business in terms of like my entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah. And how old were you?
I was 25.
Okay.
Yeah, 25. And I was just like, I was bored. I didn't have that many clients. You like start a business, you don't have that many customers. And then I was like, I got to do something. So I had this little GoPro camera and I was like, I'm going to put this on the tripod and start recording some videos. It was like super wide angle. And that got me on the YouTube journey. And
I remember that. It's fun, by the way. You're going to hate this. You go to your channel and you sort videos by oldest.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It's like 100 videos with just 1 minute videos.
Yeah, they're all like 1 minute videos. What is a checking account? What is a savings account? And that's how you got started on YouTube.
Yep. And I've always decided to keep those videos up so just like people can see the journey on where I started. Because I remember looking, when I started on YouTube, I remember looking at past videos of big YouTubers and being like, wow, they were like, they were at this place. And I always hated when some of the big YouTubers would delete their old videos. Because it's like motivation. It's like, wow, they were nobody, they grew a following, and it's like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So,
that's fun. So you were doing real estate photography and then YouTube for fun.
YouTube, yeah.
Okay. You weren't making any money from YouTube back then.
No, the first year pretty much I didn't. I mean, I made hundreds of videos in that first year and didn't make hardly anything. I think the first time I got a YouTube check was at least probably 10 months into my journey. And that was probably 200 videos in at that point. It was like, am I wasting time here? Like what's going on? And then finally it started to click. And I remember that first YouTube check, which was like literally like $100 or something. Yeah. It was like all the money in the world. Cause I was like, whoa, I actually made money from YouTube. What?
You didn't want to do it for money. You wanted to do it just for fun.
Well, I always knew you could make money. So I was like, if we get to that place, that's going to be awesome. But if we don't, we don't. I'm like, the worst case scenario is I put out a ton of videos, a ton of content, and it helps out, hopefully, people and just understanding basic financial stuff. And I was a little afraid to go stock market, even though that was always my main passion. I was always kind of a little afraid to go there because I didn't know what the laws were. Were you allowed to? Because when I started, there weren't any big stock market channels.
Right.
So it was can I legally talk about my opinion on Apple stock? Is that allowed? Am I going to get in trouble for that? I really had these thoughts. And so I was really afraid to go there. And I didn't start going there until the end of that first year. And that's when my channel started to take off. Once I started getting into stock market investing, stocks I was buying, everything really started to change for me. And I was like, this is perfect. Like, this is exactly what I want to do.
But you were still doing real estate photography at the time. Like, how
Correct.
were you making the bulk of your money back
Real estate
then?
photography.
Okay.
Yep. Real estate marketing, like videos for homes. I was doing like drone videos before like drone videos were a thing. There were some high-end properties. I mean, this is 2015, 2016. Like most realtors were not using drones to market at that time, other than maybe like LA and stuff. But out in Vegas, it wasn't like a big thing yet. So I kind of like hopped on that wave before like other people knew it was a thing. And that's how I like drove that initial business. People were like, whoa, you fly around a drone. And it was DJI just came out with like the DJI Phantom 3. And and now that's what actually helped that business out. And that's what paid the bills. And that's what got me through to keep doing YouTube essentially. Because I think if I honestly would have started working a normal job again, I probably would have quit.
Yeah. But you were taking all that money and then just putting it in the stock market back then?
At that time, yeah, well, paying bills. One, I had one of my children at that time. I just got married. So I was, at that time with the real estate, I was mostly using that money to pay bills, fund the YouTube business, and then, try to invest a little bit here and there. So.
Mm-hmm. And then when did you start getting really heavy into the stock market? Because this is what bringing you on today.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking stocks.
So 2008, 2009 is when I started researching stocks, started investing, and I started investing heavily once I started working at QT, which was, we have to go back to like 2010 for that, 2010, 2011. And that's when I started really investing a lot. As far as YouTube, I started really talking more about stocks in about 2017. That's when I started feeling comfortable to put myself out there. And that's a whole other thing there when you start talking about stocks, because stocks move up and down every day. So you have to really have thick skin, because if all of a sudden you talk about, I'm going to buy, Tesla stock today, and Tesla stock the next day goes down 3%. Everybody's like, oh, you're so stupid. You should have waited to buy Tesla stock. It's a tough.
I get so nervous. Anytime I post a video in the stock market, Jack knows. I'm telling him, like, if Monday is green, we're going with this. If it's not green, my whole video is ruined. Really. Or I have to get them out the same day, because I know if people watch it the next day and something different happens, it's like, there's the video. I planned out whole videos like that where I've got like ready to post, but something changed. Like I can't post anymore.
There's talk about a stock market collapse. The next day the Dow goes up 1,000 points. It's like, oh, what did I do here?
Yeah. So you built your channel though on just very basic videos. I remember seeing them back then, because you and you started right before me.
Yeah.
And we were neck and neck. I remember watching your subscriber count. You hit 50,000 before I think almost anybody else did. You were one of the first channels to hit 50,000 subscribers.
Yeah, no, that was a
finance channels.
Yeah, finance channels. No, and I know we spoke about this many times. You said like I was an inspiration back then for you.
Oh yeah.
And now I look at you as an inspiration because you've shown the whole space like what's really capable of, and I'm like, I don't think I would be at the level I'm at without you, because you've opened up my mind to what's possible on YouTube.
Clickbait.
Oh gosh.
Clickbait.
Edit that out.
Explosions and thumbnails.
Crazy thumbnails.
Yeah.
That's what people are real like. It's funny to watch everyone else do the thumbnails. One of these days it's not going to work anymore because everyone is doing it, and then you have to go back to something else.
Like a monotone face.
Yeah.
No, but in all seriousness, you've been a huge like inspiration for me, and I think for anybody in the space, just realizing what's possible. Like it's not just like a super niche thing. You look at the type of view counts you pull in. This is like big for any YouTube channel, not just like, oh, it's big for finance space. It's an exciting time, man, for the whole space.
It really is.
It's so exciting.
It really is. So you're doing now, coming up from all of that, you're just doing YouTube full time.
Yeah.
You made the switch. When did you make the switch to decide, like, listen, it's my real estate photography business?
That was the beginning of 18, I think, 2018, if I recall. I was starting to think toward the end of 2017, I was doing the real estate marketing business. And that at that time was pretty much bringing in just as much money as YouTube. But the YouTube numbers were increasing so dramatically that I was starting to realize, like, the time I was putting into attracting new real estate marketing clients, keeping those ones, that it was a really poor ROI compared to what, where I was going with YouTube. Like it was clear people wanted, like for instance, I remember being on, this happened several times, like on real estate marketing jobs, like doing videos or photos or talking with, realtors or whatever. And something super important happened in the market, and being out on a job, taking pictures or doing a video or whatever, or conversating and just being like, I need to be home, like recording this video right now. Yeah. And I was just like, this is crazy. Like I am literally like not making a wise financial decision by staying with this. And so I dropped the business. I talked to a lot of people about it, including my mom. She's like, no, don't let it go. No, I just dropped it. I was just kind of like, whatever, I'll just let it go. I sent out a mass email to all my customers, and I was like, I'm going to
like and subscribe.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I think I was still
subscribe.
Dude,
yeah.
It's funny. I think I was still a little embarrassed about YouTube, so I don't think I told them what I was doing. Because it's like, it was like that thing, like, because people are going to be like, are you crazy? Wait, you're going to drop a legitimate business over here to do YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people still don't understand, like, there's money to be made on YouTube and social media and all these things. It's not just like followers don't mean anything, so.
Yeah, it's true. I was embarrassed when I started doing YouTube. I have not, like, on my personal Facebook, I would say, is where I have, like, all my friends from, like, high school, middle school, that I've never once talked about my YouTube channel on Facebook. Yeah. Never once. Never told them, like, hey, I have a channel, go and subscribe.
Yeah.
Because I was so embarrassed.
Yep.
I was like, what if someone clicks on my video and there's like 10 dislikes on it, or people are mean in the comments? Yeah. They're like, what was Graham doing? I was just so embarrassed. So I never told anybody.
I totally sympathize. Yeah. Same thing here. I didn't even tell my family most of the time. And I remember back then I'd be embarrassed to like record. So I would wait for like my wife to go to bed to like even record videos, or like if she was out or something like that, and like close the door and like record a YouTube video. Cause it's like, it's a weird thing, man. So I remember that whole stage. And now I'm like, people like, because, I have workers and different people that, come to the office and they think like they got to get out of the room. I'm like, dude, I literally could film in front of 100,000 people. It doesn't matter. Like,
I can't do that.
Really?
I tell my girlfriend, like, you got to close the door. Yeah. You got to put on those noise canceling headphones, and I'm going to film. And I'm like, and if I hear like walking around here, I stop.
What?
I freeze. Because I mess up when I talk.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll repeat the same thing over and over again. It's just, I'm just embarrassed. Right? So now you're just basically, you're making YouTube videos and trading stocks is full time right now.
Yeah.
What is it like for you to make money in the stock market right now?
Very easy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Yeah. I mean, there's days, recently where I'm like, it's like 50K, 80K, 100K. Like, it's been really easy to make money lately. I don't think this is going to last forever. And I don't mean to jump ahead to, because I know we're still talking about YouTube journey and stuff like that. But right now, the market's just been hot, man. It's like the last 2.5 months, it's been crazy. It's just been up almost in a straight line.
Are you down since December overall? Because let's say January. So you're way positive.
Way positive. Yeah, way positive. I mean, it's like...
What do you attribute that to?
A lot of different stocks have helped me out, but Tesla's the main one. Okay. I think I'm up over 300% on Tesla right now in the public account. So that one alone is
how many Tesla shares do you have?
In that account, 150. Okay. I think in total, I don't know the exact number, probably around 300. Okay. So.
Gotcha. Now you have the public account. That's the one that I see you post all the time on Instagram. Yeah. The public account just reaches the all-time high. Remember when it hit like 3 something? Yeah. Like it's all-time high. Now how much is in the public account?
I think over 600. Yeah,
600,000. Mm-hmm. Do you contribute regularly to that account, or is that purely just you're growing it with stocks?
I contribute to it when the market's down big, or there's a specific opportunity in the market that's huge where I'm like, I got to funnel money in. Unfortunately, since the market's been going up, I've hardly funneled any money in. So the gains lately have just been coming from every stock pretty much I own in that account going up. I mean, heck, even Carnival Cruise Line's been going up lately. I mean, that one bottomed out at like 8, and I think it's over 20 now. Yeah. So it's been incredible. The gains have been insane the last few months.
So the public, and then what's the private account? How do we?
So
what's in that?
Yeah. So I have private accounts. That? They pretty much mirror the same stocks. Like if I buy a stock in the public account, I'm probably buying in my private accounts as well.
Now, how impressive though is a private account? Because I don't even know this. Like, is it over $1 million? It's got to be over $1 million.
I would tell you, but I would have to own your YouTube channel after that.
It's got to be over $1 million.
If you give me the Graham Stephan show, I'll show you what's in it. Okay?
It's got to be. But don't you show what's in the private account to the people who join the membership?
No,
you don't.
But they can see every position in the public account, every single move I make, anytime I buy, sell a share, and they know about any move I make before I even make it. So I'm like, hey guys, I'm gonna probably buy this stock tomorrow, or I'm gonna sell this stock.
What would be really funny of you to do? This would be sneaky of you to do. In the public account, you buy everything, and then in the private account, you're shorting.
Oh my gosh!
funny would that be? Like, you buy Carnival Cruise at 15, and then you short the equivalent on the price.
Oh my god, it's private. Dude, wow is all I got to say. Wow, that would be a very unprofitable endeavor considering like the majority of my stocks are up. But yeah,
that would be hilarious.
That would be a money losing proposition.
I'm joking, but so your private account is really just that's your investment portfolio.
Yeah.
That's to
and I have multiple private accounts too. Yeah. I have my main private account.
Why do you call them private accounts? Why was to say like
because for the stock market group, the public account, so they know this is public to you. You get to see every single move I make in that account. Buy, sell, everything's documented. Cost basis, you get to see literally screenshots of the account. Whereas private account, it's just more for like privacy. Like I'm kind of weird about privacy. Like I like
you don't like people knowing like your net worth.
Like
and
I don't share really anything about my family. Like you don't see my kids in my videos or even on Instagram for the most part, and that's where you'd likely see stuff. I don't share my wife. I believe like although I'm out there, I still like have some boundaries with privacy. And I understand like a lot of people on social media, they don't care. They're like, just post everything. For me, I'm just like, there's boundaries I set. Like, I'm not willing to go that far.
Why is that account off limits? Whereas the other one,
how I started that was basically, so everybody in the private group could see me build an account. Yeah. Like how I build a portfolio and how I make moves, how I actually like buy and hold. Like I'm not just like trading in and out of these stocks every day. And so it's like, it was a new account when I started. Like
how much was in it?
Like a couple $1,000.
Like it's at 600,000.
Yeah, 600,000. Yep.
You've been buying.
Yeah. How much have you put in since 600,000?
I don't know because we're up like 200K right now in paper profits. But also we took profits in 18. We took profits in 19. I think in 19 we took 30. I want to say like 30K in profits. I can't remember the specific number. So it's hard to, I would say at least half the money in there was deposited though.
So you're about 100% in 3 years.
I would say so, yeah. I mean, Fidelity calculates us at, I can pull it up right now if you guys really want. I can pull it up right now I just got to make sure you guys don't see the private account numbers.
I want to know what's in
I want to know it too.
It's going to be some weird stuff, I'm sure.
So the reason you hide it is just to hide your net worth from people. You don't want people knowing.
I think it's more fun that way, honestly.
I think it's more fun.
I do.
My guess is there's got to be close to 1.5 to 2 million.
That's your guess?
Yeah. I'm gonna guess, you know what? I'm going to guess $2 million.
So the public count's at 584 right now. And it looks like on Friday we made $5,411. 1 year rate of return 74.58%. So we've done pretty good. But the huge dip tore us up. Like look at that downward move, and then look at how it's just gone, crazy since. Whoa. But yeah.
Now that's led a lot by Tesla because seeing it increase that much.
Yeah, I mean Tesla's up, over 300% in that account. It's let me look at Tesla here. Yeah, 311%. We're up 106,000 on Tesla there.
Let me ask you this, because while we're talking about Tesla, is it too late to invest in Tesla?
Oh, that's a tough one. I got to say, if you're a long-term investor, I don't think it's too late. Because I personally believe it's going to be a $2,000-$3,000 stock in the future, over the next 5 years or so. But at the same time, if you're trying to do a short-term move around it, I just don't think it's the right stock to do it around. It's too volatile. It's almost like it's one of those stocks that very few come along, kind of like an Amazon, an Apple, a Google, where you just buy it and you just hold it, man. You just throw it in the filing cabinet. You try not to look at the stock price. It's good, if it's at 500 a year from now or 2,000, you try not to make judgments off that. It's one of those you just buy and you forget about it.
Don't you think a lot of people think the same thing, that like Tesla is going to be the next, Amazon or whatever, and they're all piling into it now with that expectation? And don't you think that's maybe influenced the price? Because part of me looks at the company and like this maybe like $400 or $500.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it might never get there because people just have so much faith in the company that it's never going to hit what it's, I think, kind of valued at.
Well, with these special opportunities, they really just trade, way ahead of themselves, like years in advance. Amazon's done that since the beginning of time, since when went public in the 90s. It's always traded way ahead of the market because a lot of investors just look at it and they're like, it's just the future. And obviously it's now as well when it comes to Amazon. And that's why that one's at a $1.3 trillion market cap right now, Amazon. Because if you're trying to base Amazon off of what they're doing today, there's no way a $1.3 trillion valuation makes sense for Amazon today. But when you base it off of what they're doing in 5 years, it might be a steal. So, and that goes for a lot of these great companies. There's been a lot of times where Apple's been way overvalued, and there's been times where it's been undervalued. So, sometimes these long-term investments, you have to throw it in the filing cabinet.
That's been the hard part with me with stocks over real estate, because real estate, I feel like there's a very definitive range of value, and it's very easy to buy it purposely undervalued. Whereas stocks, it's like, this is what it's trading at, and you have no clue if it's ever going to go down, or people just continually get excited about it.
No, I can fully understand that. I mean, I feel like some of these stocks, like a Tesla, you have to view it in the sense of buying a real estate property. Whereas if you buy a real estate property across the street from you today, you're not thinking about, I got to sell out if it goes up, 1% tomorrow or something like that. You're focused on, what is that property going to generate me over, year in, year out for the next number of years. And so I feel like a lot of stocks in general, I should put it that way, you just got to kind of view the same way. Like, what is this business going to likely do over the next 5-10 years? What am I going to likely see? What's the downside risk? What's kind of the worst case scenario with this? And I think you got to view it very similar to real estate, rather than view it as these arbitrary numbers that are jumping around each day. Mm-hmm. So
is that why you call it investing rather than trading?
100%. You caught on to that. Yeah, because trading, it's really a mentality of got to get in, got to get out, got to time this, get boom, 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 and you're making moves all over the place. Whereas investing, it's more like, I've looked into this asset, I fully understand it on a very high level, and I understand the valuation, and I likely understand where it's going over the next 5-10 years, because I've researched it so in depth that I understand it on a level that the CEO would understand it, or somebody high up at the company. And I'm making a wise investment decision. And so you invest in it like a real estate investment property, but it's with a stock of a company.
How do you learn how to do that?
A lot of,
Where do you go?
Do you research?
You go to Jeremy's private stock market group.
How much do you pay to have to learn?
A lot. Okay. No. But in all seriousness, how I learned initially was watching Warren Buffett YouTube interviews on YouTube. I would go to the computer lab at the community college, and this is back in old school YouTube days. At this point, this is like, we're talking 2008, 2009, even 2010 a bit. And I would just like Warren Buffett interview and just watch interview after interview. And throughout watching those interviews, and a lot of it could be wasted time because they talk about what's going on in the market right now. But in a lot of those interviews, he would go into his investment process, and if it's an hour-long interview, you're going to get 10 minutes probably in there that's really, really valuable. And that 10 minutes was worth watching a full hour. And so that's how I learned a lot. I, read a few books, but the books didn't really help me. It was those Warren Buffett interviews and then getting in the market. That was the biggest thing.
Warren Buffett's investment strategies are still effective?
I was about to ask that, yeah.
So I think they're not I think his principles are. I think, specifically what he's looking for in stocks in a company, yes. But the unfortunate thing for Warren Buffett is I think he kind of aged out of the market, whereas he doesn't invest in tech stocks. He, chooses not to do that, and it's like so many companies are tech now. I mean, even,
it goes against what you were saying, though, is that they're trading years ahead of where they actually are. And if Warren Buffett's all about value investing today, tech stocks just don't fit that because they're valued higher.
Sometimes you can get tech stocks for a very good value, though. An example is, a company I bought a few years ago named Cirrus Logic. Another company I bought was Skyworks Solutions. Two that have done me amazing tech stocks. They're semiconductors. They make most of the chips that go into your iPhone or a Samsung or whatever, smartphones. And those are tech stocks, but they were trading at really attractive values. They were trading at 4 Ps of, when I bought them, I think 12 to 15 range, which is incredibly low for the stock market. So it's not impossible to find good values in tech. Sometimes, like a Tesla and Amazon, a Shopify is a whole other level. That one trades at a 5,000 forward P or some insane number. Those ones, I can really fully understand Warren Buffett saying maybe not those ones, but there's a whole other gamut. So, like anything in life, I think you just kind of age out. One day we'll age out of YouTube, I'm sure. And, it's like at that in every industry. You just kind of, you age out. You don't understand the new concepts and new ways of selling. I mean, you came from real estate industry. I'm sure there's older realtors that back in their day, they were moving properties like crazy. And then new things changed, social media came, and all of a sudden it was like, whoa, this person, they don't get how to sell properties in 2020. They're trying to still sell in the 2000 wave. So, yeah.
What would you say are the best principles you learned, if you're willing to disclose?
The best principles I learned looking at the fundamental business and focusing on that first. Don't worry about stock price. Don't worry about valuation. Don't even worry about the financials at first. Really look into the company. What is this company doing? View it on a very specific wave where you're trying to, what does this microphone company do? How do they make money? Who are their competitors? That's the way you want to view it. That's the most important thing, and making sure you understand you have a circle of competence around that. From there, then you can go into valuations. Then you can go into the financials, the income statements, balance sheets, cash flows, all those sorts of things. You can go into conference calls, but you got to understand the business first. Where a lot of people get into trouble is they'll buy a stock because they heard about this stock and they're like, oh, I got to buy this. And it's like they may not even understand the business on a fundamental level. Mm-hmm. It's so key. It is so key. It's the most important thing. So
on the topic then of stocks, what do you think of Hertz?
Hertz, that's a ridiculous situation. So Hertz, you have a company that's filing bankruptcy. You have the stock should be going to zero. Like when a company announces they're going to go bankrupt, like they should be going to zero. The shareholders usually get nothing. If there's anything, whoever gave them debt gets the money first. Then if there's any money after that, it's bonds. And so the shareholders should have got nothing in this whole deal. Yeah, lawyers, yeah. Everybody makes money except really the shareholders. And then the stock got bought up so crazy.
Why? Why did people buy the stock?
I don't know.
Were people shorting it? Or was it like a short push?
Yeah, so there was a lot of people that were shorting it, understanding it's likely going to zero. And then on top of that, you had this whole wave of people start bidding it up. And because it got to be a hot stock, more and more people started buying it, which caused more and more short covering, which if you're going to cover your shares, you've got to buy the underlying shares back. So if you have 100 shares short and you get, let's say, called on it where your brokerage says, hey, you gotta buy you gotta cover your short position, then you gotta buy 100 shares. So that makes another buyer in the market. And when that's happening en masse, you get the stock to go up, 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 up. And the amazing thing about this story is, it's one of the only things I've ever seen in the stock market like this. They're actually going to get to raise money because the stock's gone up so much now.
I saw that.
To potentially not go bankrupt. I've never seen anything like this before.
The judge issued $1 billion worth of stock.
I've honestly never seen, you couldn't make this stuff up. Like, it's incredible. When a company, like literally 99 out of 100 times, a company says they're going bankrupt, the stock's going to zero. Yeah. There's no way of saving it.
Well, I remember JCPenney, and I was actually, I can't believe I'm saying it. I was thinking about investing in JCPenney.
Oh, boy.
But this is after they filed for bankruptcy. And I thought, you know what? It's just like, how much worse can it get from here? I really had that mindset. Yeah. I didn't do it, but I was saying, like, how easy would just put like $3-4 grand in there?
Yeah.
It can't get any worse. Maybe you get lucky. And maybe that's what would, and then sure enough, it like tripled in price right afterwards. I'm like, I should have done it. If I bought in at the 3, sell it at 10, and made like $7,000 profit in a few days.
Oh, gosh.
I didn't do it. But I think that's the mentality of when Hertz filed for bankruptcy. I figured it's like, it's down so much. And it used to be this big stock, and now it's down here. It's like, so what? Just risk a little bit of it.
No, and there certainly is a group of traders out there that like to try to play these type of plays and get in and out. And there's nothing wrong with it. But from my perspective of looking at it from an investment perspective, it's just not an activity I can get into because this doesn't make any sense. Like, if you're buying into a failing business model is going to fail. You know what I mean? Like, it's just when does it fail? Does it fail this year? Does it fail next year? Does it fail in 3 years from now? You just know it's going to go bad. It's no different than, imagine, there were people in the city I live in, Vegas, right? There were people in the housing boom, right, that were buying properties and selling them the next day and making like $10,000, $20,000 because it was that insane. There would be lines to buy like a condo in Vegas. Like, I've had, realtors tell me this before, and like lines to buy a condo. People just buy it with no money down, flip it the next day for like 10, 20K profit or in a week or so. Craziness, right? And it's the same thing in the stock market. It happens all the time. You have this group of people that are going to try to speculate, and sometimes they can get lucky and make some very short-term money. But at the end of the day, it's not a long-term investment model. It's just not. I mean, look, you can look at anybody you really respect in the investing category who's ever achieved huge levels of success. None of them got there from trying to get in and out of Hertz and JCPenney stock. Like, it's just, it doesn't work over the long term. It's more of a gambler's mentality.
Why did Hertz go bankrupt? What was so bad about Hertz versus like Enterprise?
I haven't looked at the company on that high of a level. I'm guessing it's probably balance sheet related. They probably had a bad balance sheet. Rona comes out of nowhere, knocks them for a loop, and all of a sudden they're stuck in a situation where like no money's coming in. Oh, we got all this debt payments. I'm assuming that's what's happening there. They probably got a bunch of debt payments, no money coming in. What are you going to do? You're going to probably go bankrupt. So, and they already have fundamentals issues there because they have so many competitors on the come up right now that are apps where you can rent cars. Turo. Yep. That's just one example, right? And then you have on top of that Uber and Lyft, and people are like, I don't even need to rent a car. If I'm going to go visit LA, I'm just going to Uber around, Lyft around. Why do I want to rent a car? Like, it would be just simpler if I do this. Scooters, it's just the whole game has changed for Hertz over the past 10 years, really, and it's gone for the worse.
Yeah. Speaking of Uber, I saw California now classifies Uber drivers as employees.
Yeah, that is going to be interesting.
One.
That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. What I think is going to end up happening is they're probably going to have to make more full-time drivers, where they do have benefits and everything, but they have to drive specific hours. And for some Uber drivers, that's going to be great. They want to, set schedule. But for a lot of them, actually probably the majority of them, they like to control it. So I'm not sure. For some people it's going to be better. For some people it's going to be worse.
I think for 90% of people it's going to be worse.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think is meant to be a job that you can be like, hey, it's 8 o'clock. My plans got canceled. Let me turn on and let me work 2 hours and then stop. Right?
Make a little money.
Let me go all night. What I think is going to happen, because one of the things that I've read is that the reason they classified these drivers as employees is because Uber is the one that sets the price. And so these people don't, even though they're independent contractors, they can't set their own rates. So what I would like to see that I think would greatly benefit Uber is that, I think within reason, the driver can set their own rates.
That would be intriguing.
That'd be super interesting.
Wouldn't get a price up front. That would be the thing. Is like when you go on Uber and you're like within a second, it's like, oh, how much is that price? You're gonna have to wait for people to bid it up.
Do you think prices would go up or down for the riders?
I think we'll find a middle ground. I don't know. I think
same then.
Initially they'll get bid down, but during certain peak hours, the price will get bid up. The other thing though, I'm just thinking now is that if that happens, you'll get some Uber drivers like purposely waiting to put in their bid, just knowing that they could wait a little bit longer, bid it up a little bit. So that could be a consideration. Or if they're in a town with almost no demand, and then the one person is there, and you're like, I think $50, and you like counter offer back and forth. You're negotiating with somebody. Then that person, you were the one that was negotiating.
Yeah, and then that's
So maybe it's
funny.
not as good of an idea as I thought. I'm thinking this out, but it would be interesting to have the drivers bid their own rates, because that's what they do with a lot of shipping, like freight stuff. Is they'll bid it around, and you have the option to go and pick the lowest bidder.
Oh yeah, I think trucking industry is kind of similar, to a certain extent. Yeah, I don't see that working because it's too at a micro level. I think consumers will start to hate Uber. Then you get into what happens if Lyft drivers are undercutting the Uber drivers.
Or price fixing. They all get together on an agreement and be like, guys, nothing under $20. Let's all agree to this. All right, we're good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Is the same thing going to happen to Lyft then, since it happened to Uber?
More than likely. Yeah.
Has it not happened?
Why?
If
it hasn't happened to Lyft.
I think the industry's just gotten so big now. I think the government's just looking at it and they're like, we don't want you guys as independent contractors. I think that...
Why? Why would they do that?
Tax reasons, mainly. If you're an employee, the employer has to take out taxes. It's more professional on that level versus independent contractors. They have to pay their own taxes. And I think the government's probably not getting nearly as much money.
So they're thinking all these independent contractors are cheating the tax system or not paying their fair share.
Yeah, I don't know about all of them, but they probably feel like it's a big enough number. And they probably don't like the example Uber's setting in terms of having so many independent contractors versus employees. Because the fact is, it is much more expensive from a company standpoint to have employees versus having a bunch of independent
you have to double the Social Security.
Yes, exactly. And so I think government at the end of the day, they want to make an example of these industries before they get too enormous. I say, let's make an example of them now and let's get this done. I think that's at the end of the day, that's the biggest thing.
Okay. Well, that's a shame.
Yeah.
So would you invest in Uber?
Well, I love Uber. I sold out of the stock recently for a nice profit. The main issue for Uber is going to be how fast does rideshare come back? We don't really know how that's going to shake out with this whole, Rona situation, shut down worldwide economies. Uber Eats is doing amazing right now. Like that business is doing amazing. Anything food delivery wise, this is a perfect scenario for that. Rideshare business, it couldn't get worse because travel's just shut down. I think I heard something like San Francisco might shut down for 3 weeks or something like that.
No.
I've heard something about that. I'm not 100% confirmed, but I think my wife mentioned something about San Francisco might close down for 3 weeks. And, I have no clue if that's true or not. Once again, we'll see. I'm sure Graham's fact checking it right now. But, when you just look at that and just the lack of mobility right now, it's definitely a big risk for Uber, because their rideshare business is their biggest business. So
does the illness really affect your investing strategy? Like, has it changed like a lot of your speculations and stuff?
You're talking about the Rona?
Yeah.
Not really too much. I mean, other than industries that it's fundamentally changed. For instance, one of my positions at Carnival Cruise Line, like it's fundamentally really changed the business model for the worse. Like that was an amazing, very profitable business. But because cruising's been shut down, it's in a horrible place right now. And we don't know how long that will continue. So if it's changed it fundamentally, yes. Yeah.
But you still use the same principles across the board.
Correct.
And that essentially, those haven't changed.
Yeah, no, it hasn't changed, and I try not to put too much emphasis in the whole Rona situation because this is a once in a 100-year event,
right?
And so you can't make every judgment. What did you find anything about the San Francisco situation?
They're not shutting down.
They're not. Okay,
No,
it was a rumor though, right, or something?
I don't know.
Okay.
They were talking about their reopening plans.
Oh,
so they're still somewhat shut down, but they're talking about reopening.
Okay, because I think they said the source was TMZ, and I said, well, that does sound credible.
TMZ has actually been a really credible news
It
source.
is really? Usually, isn't it?
Believe it or not, TMZ is one of the most accurate in terms of the information they portray.
Yeah,
believe it or not, more than news outlets. TMZ is like so precise of their information.
And sometimes they get stories before everybody else.
Before everyone else.
People get mad at it. They're like, you didn't even confirm this fully yet.
I have so many people I feel like infiltrate everybody you could possibly imagine that's just leaking information, and I'm sure they pay better than anyone else.
Wow.
That's why they go to TMZ. I'm just guessing.
I still haven't figured out how TMZ makes all their money. Is it from the show they have on Channel 10 or whatever?
I haven't watched that show in ages.
Yeah.
YouTube channel?
Harvey Levin, right?
Yeah.
What a career that guy has had.
Yeah.
Seriously, he has had a multi-decade long career going from, what was it? He was an attorney. And he was, I believe he was an attorney, and he would comment on cases. What? Yeah, and he went from that to then TMZ.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet you if he had waited a little, like his career blossomed a little later, I bet you he would have gone more full in on YouTube rather than create a channel. I bet you he would have started a YouTube channel.
Reminds me of Perez Hilton. Remember that? Perez Hilton?
Perez Hilton,
that was back like 2004, 2005.
Okay.
Perez Hilton had a blog that he would just talk trash about celebrities on his blog, but it was so big. And he was known as Perez Hilton.
Wow. Yeah, that one I didn't know. Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know. Fact of the day there.
The government loves money, man. He guy generates a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
Maybe.
that guy generates a lot of money. I mean, I think he released a music video the other day. He got 63 million views in a day.
But you know what? In a way,
crazy
he could spin that around. That's good for his career. Because for a while, for the 2 months, everyone was talking about him.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Well, yeah, he was just a troll.
Even if you're not in the hip hop community, like people were mentioning.
He just calls out like everyone.
So that way, when he actually releases his record, like everyone's like, What is it? What are you guys do? And what did he do something with Nicki Minaj?
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
I mean, I'm not a fan of the music, but like, I don't know, maybe behind it all, he's a really, really, really smart business person.
No way.
People put on personas all the time.
I saw the most absurd news article when he was in jail, and it was from like his lawyer, and it was like Tekashi 6ix9ine is requesting to be released from prison because he's scared he'll get coronavirus. That was like an argument that he was using. He's like, man, I can't get coronavirus. Like I gotta get out of here. And like that was a legit article. Wow. It was like posted multiple times on many different like sites. He was scared of it.
A lot of these people, I really believe they're so smart behind the scenes, and it's just it's a big act.
Well, they understand. If you understand,
accept that.
Yeah, if you understand how to get attention, it's no different than the Kardashians. Like Kardashians, all of a sudden they stop having as much interest. All of a sudden, there's some ridiculous thing you hear about the Kardashians, and then all of a sudden everybody's like viewing their profiles and watching, keeping up with the Kardashians again. They understand how to keep in the spotlight, and I think that Tekashi he figured it out.
There's another YouTuber that I've met with. I'll tell you guys after, but. You would see their videos and you'd be like, they're idiots. Mm-hmm. But separate from that, they know that's like they gotta play to that because that's that's their audience. And behind the scenes, they're so smart and they're making like hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in profit. And from the looks of it, you would think like these people are so stupid. But anyway,
Paris Hilton, I think, was the originator of this whole movement.
Yeah,
because Paris Hilton, believe it or not, she's actually super smart and like actually talks really intelligent. If you've ever like talked to her outside of that show they got famous off of, which was her and I think was it Lindsay Lohan or who was the other person in that show? I can't remember.
What was it? Nicole something.
Oh yeah. Oh, I can't remember the name.
It's called The Simple Life.
The Simple Life
With Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie.
Yes, and they would act like, oh, so dumb, like,
trying the jobs.
Yes,
I love that show.
And they got so much attention, and people would tune in whether they loved them or they hated them. They would tune in, and they got views. And then if I recall, I think Kim Kardashian was like an intern or something underneath Paris Hilton, and then she understood how to kind of like gain leverage. Whether it's people just getting people talking about you, get it out there. Then obviously the whole Kardashian family built, and then you got so many people. We go back to the Tekashi 6ix9ine. I think he just realizes there's so much. It doesn't matter whether people are talking positive or bad about you as long as they're talking about you. Floyd Mayweather, the boxer, how did he become the richest boxer and get like $200 million a fight? Because everybody wanted to see him lose. Like maybe this is the time Mayweather's going to lose. Let me buy the $100 pay-per-view. And then he would win, but it's just like people just want to see.
Is he going to play? Is he officially retired?
He's officially retired, but
but they always say that, and they always come out of retirement.
Yeah, he was running miles the other day. I don't know if any retired boxer just runs miles to run miles. He might come out. I wouldn't be surprised to see him fight McGregor again.
Gosh,
there's $100 million up there.
Yeah, buddy Anthony.
Oh, Anthony,
bet big on Mayweather the last few times because he's never lost.
Yeah,
every single time he keeps upping his bet.
Dude.
And the last game I think he made like $60,000 on him betting on Mayweather because he's like, that guy's never lost. There's no way. Retirement to do one fight and then lose.
Yeah,
there's no way
to an MMA guy.
Lose.
Imagine with a guy like that, 50-0. Imagine if you started betting with him just like $100 his very first fight in like the 90s, and then you never sell out. Every time you just put whatever you made into the next one, just like.
What is that? If you start with $100 compounded by 50.
Well,
you would make so.
The problem is
above the threshold.
Yeah, once he got to certain levels,
you'd have more money than that exists.
Yeah. So the problem is like even if you bet $1 million,
it's not a 1-to-1.
Even if you bet $1 million on him in some of those fights, you might only profit $100K because they put the odds, so far against the other guy.
I bet you that's more than like our GDP.
More than our GDP.
You would be America at that point.
Let me see.
So you're saying massively in debt?
Let's see.
Oh gosh.
So we're doing 100. So I'm only 30 into it, and we're already at $1 trillion.
Yeah.
We're already at $1 trillion. We're not even 50 into it. So wait, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So 1.1259. So with 17 zeros in the background, if you
own the world.
Yeah. If you doubled $100, that would be like $1 quintillion.
Oh gosh, that's a crazy number. Well, fun fact of the day.
Yeah, there would just beyond honestly the 15th time he's won, there wouldn't be a good.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Like one bet would bankrupt the entire thing. He lost.
It's all or nothing. It's a Hail Mary for them.
Yeah, you just say the casino would literally have to shut down after you make that one bet. I don't even think there's as much money in circulation for your bet to win.
No.
Jerome Powell would have to print excess money just to give you payment.
Oh gosh, that's funny.
Oh my god,
yeah.
So we'll see if he plays again. That's a sign.
Yeah,
got to go heavy on.
Yeah, and then he loses. That's the one time he loses.
Exactly.
When we bet on him. We're like,
which would be a good time for him to say, like, listen, it's just age. Like, I wasn't in my prime anymore. I think he would rather go out undefeated.
Are you down to put a month's YouTube salary down on him if he ever fights again?
No. I would.
Would you do 2 weeks, half a month?
It could make interesting content. I will say that.
But that's not the image that I want. I mean,
that is true.
Realistically, I'd feel comfortable with $20,000.
What are the ratios now? What's the payout?
Well, it would probably depend on who he'd fight, but I would say he would be at least a 10-1 favorite. So,
10-1. So
yeah. So $100 you bet, you win $10. I would say.
That's horrible. You always want to bet at the underdog, but even then it's just
then they still lose, and it's like, oh gosh.
Yeah, I'd say I bet 20. But even then, if I lost,
you're really gonna do that for $2,000?
But it would be
It'd be the one time you lose.
Yeah, it would be the one time it loses, just because I bet on it. So I don't want to jinx everybody else, because 100% I will bet on that it'll lose.
Oh, goodness. Oh, man. Fun in Vegas.
Yeah. So what is it like living in Vegas?
Living in Vegas, man, it's amazing. I love it. You know, I've lived 3 places in my life. Arizona is where I grew up, Phoenix, Arizona. Then we moved out to Charlotte, North Carolina for a few years. And Charlotte was fine. It was just I didn't really like the East Coast. Mm-hmm. And then, I lived in Vegas since 2015 and love it, man. Absolutely love it.
Why did you move to Vegas?
So be closer to the West Coast again, and taxes. And I just kind of like the vibe of Vegas, you know, being 24/7 and things like that. And also just kind of, I feel like there's an entrepreneurial like vibe out there also. So, but taxes is a big reason, honestly. It's really the only place you can be on this part of like the West Coast where you can still have no taxes, because I think it's Seattle, right? Also, is it Seattle that also has no taxes?
There's a few. Tennessee
I know there's like
is one of them.
The Florida, Texas, no state
Texas,
income taxes. And so I was just like looked at the options out there, and I was like, oh, I want to be close to the West Coast again. We have Vegas. That's the play. You know, Nevada. So yeah, I love it. It's great, and then it's fun. You know, when people come out, you know, friends or family, everybody wants to go to the Strip, of course.
Do you gamble?
Not really, unless I'm with Graham. That's the only person I will do it with.
I have so much fun. You'll have to come with us to Vegas one of these times. I love it. It's just so much fun.
It is.
What do you guys play? You play blackjack, right?
I like blackjack, baccarat, and craps.
Yeah, craps I think is the most fun, because you get everybody around the table.
Yeah,
you know, throw the dice.
I'd love to see you guys play craps.
And Graham's girlfriend, cannot be named. Graham's girlfriend always goes on a hot streak.
Rolls.
She went on a roll of a lifetime.
When she gets to the table, you see everyone just like taking out their hundreds, throwing them on the table.
Somebody gave her money last time.
Yeah. My buddy Anthony was just like takes like wads of like $10,000.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
He's an animal.
No,
that guy's crazy.
Yeah,
man.
no, it's a blast to watch. Yeah. But they see her come up to the table, and she has no clue what she's doing, and she's like, people love it. So there's this superstition when someone comes to the table, a woman who doesn't know what she's doing, you bet heavy, because she's just gonna keep rolling the winning numbers. So anytime like someone like that comes to the table, you'll see all these guys just like, you know.
Does she know how to win? Like how the game works?
She has no idea how to play the game, and that's I think the good thing behind it is because she doesn't know, like, if she knows don't roll a 7. Guess what? She's gonna roll a 7. So
right.
She's just like, what do I do? I'm just roll it and hit the back of the thing. Okay. And just that, it's like a hard 6, they'll call it, because it'll be 2 3s. And everyone's like, okay, hard 6. And then she'll roll it again. It's a hard 6, and people lose their minds because she just rolled the same thing again, and everyone had their money on that. They're making a lot of money. Or she had this roll for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, at Encore.
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
something like that, where people were making thousands of dollars on this, and then some dude afterwards,
gave her money
for like $50.
Yeah, something like that.
Because the guy made so much money from her roll that he's like, hey, you know, thank you.
He gave her money.
Yeah.
The most embarrassing thing about that all is I lost money. I was the only person at this table that was like loaded with people. Everybody's making so much money. Graham like 4x or 5x his money in a matter of like 30 minutes. I lost money. Yeah. I'm like, it was incredible because I was betting on field. Everybody else was just playing like normal pass line and stuff, and maybe like backing it. I'm playing field. I was the only, like, and all like the dealers and whatnot, they're looking at me and they're like, oh, you need to be colored up. And then they're like, no, he can't be colored up. He lost. Like, they're all like running a joke. I'm like, oh my gosh, how could I be the only person that lost?
So that's another thing, is that after a really good roll that's gone on for like 5 or 10 minutes, you do what's called coloring up, which just means you take all of your chips and you get the highest denomination chips. So you could take all of your $25 chips and $100 chips, and you can trade them in for like $1,000 chips or whatever. So when you go on a big roll like that, the chances of that happening again, people are like, listen, I already did so well, I'm just going to leave. So that's what I do. So anytime you get on a roll like that, you're done. Usually that's a signal, you're done for the night. You go back the next day. But yeah, every single time I go with Jeremy, you lose.
I know.
Every
time. I'm like, how is this
possible? Won a single game.
There's too much to lose here, Jeremy. Trust me, this is not a winning game. You're not allowed to win.
It's why you don't trade.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all just gambling.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, no, this is not for me. So,
what about Graham? Does he win or lose?
He usually wins. I mean, we've been out, I don't know how many times. It's quite a few, and I don't know if I've ever seen him lose.
I don't know. I feel like I lose 30% of the time. I win 70% of the time.
I don't know if I've legit ever seen you lose.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Maybe it's happened. I don't remember it. So
Kevin is fun to play with. Meet Kevin.
Dude, Kevin's crazy.
Yeah, because he'll just keep. If
He'll double
he's
down.
He just goes right back, gets more money, doubles down.
Yeah.
If he loses
Is
he'll
that his
just get more
strategy?
money.
He's one of those guys.
Yeah, and
like at the roulette table,
But
you
he'll
just
just keep doing that until eventually he'll win.
Yeah.
Because if you bet
Right,
20,
exactly.
you lose it. You bet 40, you lose it. You bet 80, you lose it. You bet 160. He'll just keep doing. Eventually, chances are he'll hit one of those, make all of his money back, and then he's like, okay, now I can start over again.
I've seen Kevin though go on roulette one color, it wins. He puts the initial money plus the profit on it again. It wins again. He does it again, and then finally he'll end up losing eventually.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, the numbers are getting big now. Sure, I don't want to just take a little profit, But
Yeah, he's fun. He's fun to play with because he's chatting up everybody. He's really the life of the table.
Yeah.
Does he wear his fedora?
No.
Does he? So does he wear that actually like?
He's worn it out a few times.
It's cool. It's stylish.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you take it from my white hat or what? Did you take the idea from there? I haven't seen it because I usually wear that white hat.
Oh, I saw. I've seen that.
Yeah, okay.
What's up with the holy smokers? This ain't no jokers. What?
So the holy smoke is this ain't no joke. I don't know when exactly it started. It might have been a year ago, 2 years ago, but it was some type of big video topic, and I got a bunch of comments right away that they loved it. And so now, if there's ever big news, I have to lead in with the holy smoke because this ain't no joke. And most of the time, I'll be like, "Well, guys, here today, blah blah blah." But if it's a big video, holy smokers, this ain't no jokers.
God, that's like your catchphrase. It's like, what's up, you guys? It's great. You got the holy smokers. This ain't no jokers.
But that one is reserved for only the big videos. It has to be. It has something. Tesla had to hit $1,000 or something in a day. Something crazy had to happen. But that's a fun one. But I come up with so many different nicknames for stocks. I have Cruisy Doozy, Fizzy Get Dizzy, Tesla My Esla. Oh gosh, there's a lot of little nicknames.
You're turning into a mini Jim Cramer.
Oh gosh, Jimmy.
You need one of those little symbols.
Or he's got
a cowbell. Yeah. You need
No.
something like that when a stock hits 1,000.
Yeah.
You hit the cowbell a few times. When you're up 10%, you hit something.
Dude, the amount of comments I've seen over the past couple of years where it's like CNBC should hire you when Jim Cramer retires. I don't know. I don't think so.
What if CNBC says here's $2 million a year? And you just got to make, you got to 2 videos a day, 5 days a week.
Man, I don't know. What's amazing is you have a relationship with CNBC and somehow I don't. I'm the stock guy and yet we don't communicate at all. I've never talked to CNBC. They never talk to me. They might not like me. I might not like them.
But I feel like the reason why is because you haven't shared really anything personal. It's just a lot of just stocks.
Okay, yeah.
I think if you start showing your family a little bit more of a personal side, it builds a connection.
Maybe. That could. Yeah, no, that could. But I don't know if I could ever do that, man.
Would you do a millennial money video?
A millennial money video?
Oh wow, you would be a fun millennial.
Oh
money.
shoot, I'd be tempted to. I mean, I've seen what Graham has done there, and it'd be hard to turn down. I'd be honest.
Your numbers would be.
it'd be hard to turn down. Wow. I'll be honest.
Would you want to?
Maybe.
I could reach out to them. If you tell me a yes, I'll reach out to them because I know it's going to be a big video.
I think I would have to. I'd be honest. I think I would. Yeah.
You would do it.
I think I would do it. Yeah, I think I have to do it. I don't think I can. I think it's one of those offers that you just can't turn down.
Okay.
I think I would have to do it.
So just so you know, they went through everything on me. They were
really?
They were more particular than an underwriter getting a loan, believe it or not.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I gave them a list of here are the things, and I told them what my payments are, and they're even my Tesla payment. They're like, we want to see a statement showing that how much your payment actually is and what you owe on it.
I would 100% love to do this because I literally don't even know how much money I spend a month. I have no clue.
I was going to ask if we could do some sort of mild budget breakdown for you.
They asked for a credit card statement too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what we spend. It could be, my wife probably knows. It's probably $20,000, $30,000 in monthly expenses. I have no clue.
Wait, and what kind of expenses?
Why?
Everything. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's not that much. Well,
business expenses?
We also have business expenses. So it's do you subtract business expenses from monthly expenses? So I don't know, but I mean, we have the mortgage, but then we're gonna have another mortgage in Arizona coming. Then we got another mortgage in Vegas coming.
How much is your mortgage in Vegas?
That one's we just got refinanced, and that one's only $2,800 now.
It's not bad.
Yeah, no, that one's really affordable. But then we're gonna have an Arizona mortgage coming. That will be another $2,000. That's coming this fall. Then we're gonna have the new Vegas property. You know, that's gonna be, I don't know. That's really, you know, that's one's like gonna be probably like 1.5. So let's say we put 20% down. So that might be like $5,000-6,000 a month, I would assume. So we have a Model X, that's $1,000 a month. We have a Model 3, that's $600 a month, I think. And then we have just a lot of other expenses, man. I like a lot of like those little expenses where it's like 100, 200, 300 here, and it just starts adding up.
Wow.
So
some of these things I just don't get how it adds up that much. I mean, yeah.
What about food budget?
Food budget's insane. It's got to be ridiculous. So we have 5 people that live in my house. You know, obviously me, my wife, my 2 kids, and then my brother-in-law. And we spend a lot, because then we go out to dinners sometimes too and drop $100-200. Like we just went out the other night, and that was, I don't know what I ended up spending. That might be on like 120. Yeah. I love to go out, and a lot of times when I go out, I go to nice places. So yeah.
You have expensive taste. Every place you've been like, let's go here, and it's like I'm telling.
Graham just prays there's a Subway across the street.
I'm looking at the menu, and I'm like, Jeremy picked another one of these.
Oh gosh, no, that's funny. You're like, oh, Jeremy, I'm sorry, I'm not feeling so good actually tonight. I don't know what happened, man.
I'm kind of full.
Yeah,
so,
20 minutes ago I was feeling so good, but ever since you sent that last text, my stomach hurts, man. I need some Robitussin or something.
That's a lot of money to spend.
Yeah, I don't know what the number is, but no, I think
you would do it.
I would do it.
I'll reach out to them and I'll see. Okay,
I'll do it. We should build a connection of some kind. You know, I feel like me being, you know, a person in the stock market investing space, and CNBC always focused most on stock market. It's like, it makes sense for us to have some sort of relationship, even if it's not a deep one.
What you're going to get, though, inevitably, because I started getting a little bit of this. Like, Graham, you make more money from YouTube than you do from real estate. And I'm like, well, of course. You know, what I try to explain to people is that, like, YouTube is full-time. Like, that's like 60 hours, 70 hours a week sometimes. Yeah. Real estate is passive. Like, you can't compare working 60 hours a week to something that's passive. But you'll get people like, Jeremy, you make more money than YouTube than stocks.
Honestly, I get that a lot. I get comments like that. You know, it's usually like a hate comment like, oh, you make so much from YouTube. And it's like, you know, I make maybe $60K a month from YouTube, 50 to 60, let's say, okay? In one trading day, my accounts in total will be likely, if it's a volatile day in the market, decent volatile, not like crazy, will be up or down 50, 60K. So whatever I make in a month from YouTube, and that's before business expenses and all sorts of things, my accounts alone will move likely that big in a day. Like somebody left a comment like that the other day, and I usually don't even reply to comments, but because I was smashing the thumbs up because I did this thing.
Oh,
where
I saw that.
Yeah, for 500,000 subscribers. Yeah, and I smashed the thumbs up for you. I think I gave you a heart too. And somebody was like, you know, I saw it and it was like, oh, you make so much. And I was like, dude, like you realize my accounts that day moved more than what I make an entire month. But yeah, it's like, it is, at the end of the day, that's what we do. Like, you know, we could be focused on a lot of different businesses doing a lot of different things. This just happens to be what we do, you know, for, you know, business. So, and sometimes I even think, you know, taking it on a deeper level, sometimes I think if I'm like, I could actually be making way more money if I was focused on doing something else. And maybe YouTube is actually holding me back from doing something like way bigger. I have those type of thoughts sometimes where I'm like, you just don't really know.
Like what?
I don't know. You know, I don't even think about what else I could be doing because I'm so focused on YouTube all the time. And what am I going to make for an interesting video? And how am I going to present this? And so sometimes those thoughts cross my head. I'm like, what if there's this big business opportunity that I'm not even spending any time thinking on because I'm so focused on how I'm going to get 100,000 views on this video today? And so there's even that side of me that's like, you know, because I'm constantly looking at companies. I'm constantly thinking about business. I love talking business with people. I mean, usually, you know, when you and I have one-on-one conversations, we always end up talking about YouTube, business, and things like that. Yeah. And that's just what I enjoy doing. And so it's like, if I didn't put in so much time to YouTube, maybe there's this other thing that I'd be a billionaire already, or you never really know, you know. So, you know, oh well. So, but those comments are funny where it's like, well, you make such and such. It's like. And the funny thing is, you know, I feel like we're underpaid. I feel like the amount of attention and time we get compared to like some of these actresses and actors that, you know, we don't even have to speak on impact that those people make versus our impact. But, you know, you look at some of these people, they make like a few million a year and you don't even know, you've never heard of some of these movies some of these people are in. And here we are, you know, educating or entertaining hundreds of thousands of people every day. And we make less than some of these, you know, C class, B class movie stars. Movie stars is a big term.
So yeah, so I think it goes both ways. So it would be like you getting paid like $10,000 per video, plus you get ad revenue on top of that.
Yeah. But
I think they really leave it up to you to monetize it, because here's the thing.
True.
I remember some smaller YouTubers. You know, Tanner J. Fox. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember Tanner J. Fox. Yep.
Tanner J. Fox was getting like 15,000 views a day on his channel, and he was making like $300,000 a month.
Yeah.
Wait, from what? Redirecting his audience to
Amazon FBA.
Yep.
And he sold a program on how to grow on Amazon FBA. I think he was making decent money, like legitimately, he was making decent money on Amazon FBA.
Yep.
He was one of the first people in the entire space to really go the course route.
Yep.
Made so much money doing course sales.
Yep.
And so here's someone who honestly wasn't getting a lot of views, but he was the biggest in that space.
Yeah.
And just, you know, made a lot from that. And I think a lot of these guys don't get, I won't mention it, but another person was getting just on a regular basis like 30, 40, 50,000 views, and he was making like 500,000 a month doing that. But it was all in the back end. It wasn't from ad revenue.
That's true.
So I think, you know, ad revenue is a little component there, but depending on how you monetize and grow on the back end, you can make so much money.
Right.
Yep.
But it just depends on what you're doing behind the scenes.
That's true. Versus a show or TV, you know, you don't control the audience or anything or try to sell. But at the same time, you say, well, you can get followers, like people like, oh, I like that show, so that I want to watch them on future shows, or I want to follow them on Instagram or things like that.
Yeah.
And then you can direct.
But then you're relying on someone else's brand deal for the most part.
That's true.
It's like, you know, then you know, product will come and say like, hey, how much for this? And you could charge on that. Yep. But YouTube is one of those things that I think is just really up to you. Do you want to make a lot of money doing that?
Yeah. No doubt. Yeah. You know, what's interesting is one of the first people I ever saw that really like was on TV, and then they went huge on YouTube. And unfortunately, this guy's made a lot of bad choices, you know, over the past few years. Jake Paul, you know, he was on that Disney show, and then he, you know, does his YouTube channel, and simultaneously he's doing the Disney channel thing, and then he's on YouTube, and he was growing his audience huge. Mm-hmm. That was like 2000, I want to say 16 back then, or 17. Before, you know, things went obviously way downhill for that whole family. But I mean, at that time, dude, it was like, that was transformative, because no one had done that really. Mm-hmm. I don't know of anybody that was on a show and then they built a huge YouTube audience at the same time. Mm-hmm. And
he was from YouTube, and then the YouTube audience got him a place on the show, I think.
Was that
because he was on Vine.
I think you could make an argument that maybe Vine helped him, but he was on the Disney show, and then he started going YouTube when Vine got shut down, because all those Viners came over, and they all went crazy at that time. I don't know if you remember that time. Yeah. Like, there was him and his brother, and then there's just so many Viners. I think Lily Pons and a bunch came over, and they had these huge audiences. And at the time, the algorithm would basically, if you were hitting some crazy like view to sub counts, you would get pushed more and more at that time,
and it just grew exponentially,
dude. And those people were getting
that with TikTok now.
Oh,
TikTok.
That's the next wave.
Charlie D'Amelio.
D'Amelio.
I don't know. Whatever her thing is.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll look at the trending page and I'll see something that's top 10 trending, and I click on it. I'm like, I've never heard of this person before.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, wow, they have like 2 million subscribers. Like, how many videos do they have? And they have like 4 videos. Mm-hmm. I'm like, wait, what? All their videos have millions of views. Where did this? And then I Google their name.
Dude, they have like 50 million followers on TikTok.
Yeah.
And they can just redirect, you know, like a small percent of their audience.
So what happens is they're on TikTok, they make a YouTube channel, they get 1 million subscribers on YouTube, like overnight.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And their videos get so many views, and then it puts it on trending because it's like just so over the top.
We got to talk about one thing. You made trending last month. Did you ever think, and I think multiple times, did you ever think you would be on the trending page of YouTube?
Oh, no, never.
That is like, this is where I talk about like inspiration and like expanding my mind like for the whole space. Dude, when I saw that, I'm just like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? It's amazing. And then I think after that, I want to say Andre, I think got on the trending, and I think Kevin
got on it.
Yeah.
He got didn't he get number 1?
Kevin was number 1 on trending for like almost 48 hours.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was one of the days, I think he got like 15,000 new subscribers in a day.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Clear Value trending.
Clear Value is,
Oh, what? Okay.
Yeah, Clear Value was maybe one of the first in finance to get on the trending page.
Oh, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, Clear Value, and then Meet Kevin, Andre, me.
Wow.
Jeff Rose was another one who was on trending for one of his
really?
videos. Yeah.
Jeez.
I feel like there's a bit of a like to get on the trending page, you have to hit so many different things. Like, not only do you have to have a really popular topic, but it has to appeal to anybody with a good message to it.
Oh, okay.
And if you can't hit all... Oh, and it's got to be clickable with a good title.
Wow.
So it's like you got to hit so many different things to be on trending.
Yeah.
And you got to do that within the first 48 hours of video posting. So if you can't hit all of those, it's not gonna happen.
Jeez,
Yeah.
that's wild, man. But no, it was just like that's just an amazing moment for the space, honestly.
Yeah.
Like trending, because literally, like when we kind of got rolling with this, like it was just there was no such thing as like the finance space on YouTube. It was just non-existent. And like to see where it's at now, where videos are getting on trending. Dude, it's
I think it's great it's becoming more mainstream, especially I think
it needs to be.
Initially, I thought I was really worried with everything going on and the whole like the illness and everything. I'm like, this is it. I really felt like could this be the end? Because I noticed all my videos on YouTube stopped getting pushed as soon as that happened.
Okay.
And there was no longevity. And I'm like, all these videos that I spent so long on, they're just not getting pushed anymore.
Wow.
And it seemed like YouTube was just favoring like the newest content and wanting you to post every day. And I'm like, I can't post every day. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
So I was like, is this it? But I'm going to try to roll with it. But it turned out to be like this blessing in disguise.
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
Things shifted around. It gave me so much more to talk about and so much more just direction.
Yeah.
That you can go with it.
No, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. And how many channels are on the come up right now that are in that space where they're getting 1,000 to 10,000 views a video right now? It's amazing. Like just in my niche, which I've really focused my channel last year or two really just around stock market investing now. And it's amazing to see the massive quantity of creators coming up and actually fulfilling a dream of potentially like making YouTube a career or, just being on social media in general or, making a part-time income, whatever it is. Yeah. Like it's amazing. It's phenomenal. See, and it's stuff that is really important. Like people should care about their money.
Yeah.
Like, people should care about because it's going to like the amount of money you have can dictate so much. It's going to, dictate where you live, what schools your kids go to, where what type of food you eat, where you eat, it's where you vacation, if you vacation. Like money's going to dictate all that. If you can give money to charity, everything. So I don't want to say our space is the most important one on YouTube, but it's hard for me not to say the financial space in general is not the most important on YouTube.
I'm just worried it's I just don't want it to be a fad. Because I think a lot of these things come with their curves. Everyone's interested in it, and it kind of dies down and it goes into something else, and people just put their focus. Now it just happens to be, I think, money.
You're the biggest in the space, and you're getting anywhere from 300 to 600K, let's say, a video on an average video. Some are getting, all the way up to 1 million. But and that's really large, but it's still, you look at some of these other spaces, the makeup industry, the makeup side, you look at, we can say Mr. Beast, he's like maybe the king of YouTube, right? Getting 10 million plus every video.
But those Mr. Beast videos appeal to everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, no matter who you are,
a younger audience, I'm sure.
Even if you're 5 years old or 50, you'd still watch Mr. Beast videos.
Yeah.
It's family friendly. Anyone can watch it. Whether you're so smart or you're just nothing about it, it's just you could zone out and watch his video, and it's with money, it's like you have to be interested in personal finance.
Yeah,
you have to at least know some level of background, at least a little bit. Mr. Beast is to everybody, so it makes sense why his views are so high.
Yeah. No,
it's
that's
hard
a whole
to take
other
finance
level.
And make it like anybody can watch, unless it's like some major event that just happened and you can.
But I'm having more and more faith, that we're going to get to a place where you're getting 1 million views a video. Yeah. And that's going to be, I already feel like it's been a game changer, but, that's when we're talking about a real massive space. Because you look at what happened to gaming, there's, obviously the few people that are at the top of gaming, they get millions of views. That's even like a niche market. How many people, I play video games sometimes. I don't really watch video game, videos. And there's only a certain segment of people that are really into gaming like that. So, all these markets aren't like that massive, makeup and beauty. Yeah, there's a lot of people that wear makeup and are into beauty, but how many are really into it that they watch, this creator over here gets 5 million views a video. So I feel like all these markets, for the most part, or a lot of these, are still kind of niched down at the end of the day.
Yeah.
A lot of people wear makeup and they don't care to watch a makeup video. They just don't, But yeah, they're pulling in millions of views.
Well, then you watch them for the personality. It'd be the same like you day trading, let's just say, and just making comments like PewDiePie.
Yeah.
Like imagine having like your little face up in the upper right. You're trading stocks back and forth, and you're making comments.
Yeah.
PewDiePie.
Yeah, that might be the next wave.
Imagine that.
That might be the next wave. Wait to see that.
Yeah.
Look at the arms.
What's that?
We're all like, no, I did not do this.
Oh, really?
No, we're all the same.
I don't know. It's gonna be some conscious going on.
Did you get arrested before the podcast, sir?
But yeah,
Oh my gosh.
I think that would be entertaining for someone to do that. Just live day trade and make comments all day.
Yeah.
Twitch stream that on YouTube.
That'd be super good, and I think YouTube would probably push that content a lot. I think they see the value in people like having good financial education.
Yes, but I think for day trading and stuff like that, they're going to start cracking down on that. I think the SEC is going to, because people are treating it like it's a gambling game. They're really treating it like a gambling game. And I think now it's so unregulated that like, especially in some of these apps, you can go and like trade options with no experience. You just have to select like, I'm an intermediate investor who wants to, it's just, there's no barrier to entry. As long as you're 18, you could legally gamble on the stock market.
No, it's a little scary. I'll be honest, but at the same time, hey, if people are making money, they're making money.
So mainly, would you consider yourself a YouTuber or a stock trader?
Boy, I would probably still consider myself a YouTuber first, stock market investor second, just because the majority of my time still is spent around YouTube and YouTube related activities, but it's getting closer to 50-50 now. But over time, it's going to flip, and I'm going to even go further and further as far as time goes, because eventually you get so much money invested that it doesn't matter what type of view counts you're getting, it's just will become insignificant, right? Where it's like, even if you're making 100K from YouTube, let's just say, for instance, you got 50 million in the market, right? It's like, was your time better spent spending an extra hour thinking about the YouTube video title and thumbnail and the content there, or was your that hour would have been spent better researching companies? So for right now, I kind of still consider myself a little bit more like if somebody say, what do you do? I would say I'm a YouTuber, and then I would say I'm a stock market investor second. So, but I think over time, eventually you get to a place where I think whatever you are, it's whatever you spend the most time on.
Okay,
that's how I feel, and so I spend the most time on YouTube, and sometimes I do think I'm like, imagine if I was spending all this time just researching companies, and I bring that out to my private group, like the private stock group. Now I have this list of DMs I get every single night, and I have to get back to these people. Like, they pay to be part of the group and for me to answer questions and things like that, right? And every night it takes me at least an hour to 2 to get into that, to get back to all those people in DMs. And all I think about sometimes is I'm like, what if this hour or 2 was spent looking into other companies rather than getting back to all these people?
You're going to try that and just shut down the membership for a month?
Yeah, well, you can't really do that. You can't just like shut it down and then be like, these people paid, for a year, so I'm committed to it and I have to be committed to it. I'm a man of my word, but those thoughts still go through my head. I'm like, what if I was reading an annual report right now or listening to a conference call? And sometimes I do listen to a conference call while I'm responding to DMs and stuff. But it's everything's like there's a perfect name for that in the space, like a time versus money aspect or something like that. Yeah. So, but yeah, a YouTuber, I would still consider myself as first.
It was funny. I asked Graham like what he says he does when people ask him, how does he make a living? And he says he would never say YouTuber. He says he calls himself a real estate guy.
I do real estate.
I'm in real estate.
Oh, okay.
So if someone were to come up to you and ask you like, oh, what do you do, like at the casinos or something? You'd say.
I always say I'm a YouTuber. Yeah, like if my neighbors, like when I moved to a new neighborhood, yeah. And the one part I don't like about that is then you have to explain, because you're like, what? You can make money from that? Like, how do you make money? And then you get into this whole thing. That's the only thing I regret about
the ad revenue, 45-55
I'm not embarrassed of it at all. Like, I'm proud of what we built on YouTube and what we're continuing to build. But at the end of the day, that's the only thing that annoys me, is like, now I got to get into the process. Like, there's ads that are shown before the videos and after the videos are over, and you make money off those ads, and it's only a very small amount, but when it's a lot of people watching, the amounts are bigger. You have to get into that whole thing. And
but you get into the same with real estate. You say, hey, what do you do in real estate? I'm an agent. Oh, how's the market?
Yeah.
So what it is? How's the market? Yeah. Oh, that's good. Whoa, okay, because my buddy's house over here, it's like,
yeah.
Do you dabble in real estate at all? Do you have rental properties and stuff?
Not rental properties, but I'm up to we got 2 houses we're building right now, plus a house we own. So I'm putting more and more money into real estate.
So you're building houses?
Yeah.
For what?
Well, one's just a second home. One's going to be the main home. And then the current home we're living in, once the other Vegas home's ready, which is still not going to be for like a year or so, I'm trying to figure out if I want to rent it. I could maybe get like $4,000 a month, I think, for it. Or I'm trying to figure out if I want to just turn it into like an office where I can have, either employees meet at, independent contractors, and just have like a meeting spot, because I don't really have a formal office right now.
I need some write-offs this year.
Okay.
And part of me is thinking like it might be a good idea to go and invest in an actual office space.
Oh, yeah.
But I want it nearby. I mean, that's the only thing is I like not having a commute and just like walking into a room. Part of me is worried that people they think we're filming in the dining room.
Yeah.
At what point do you become too commercialized? And something like that, it might be too fancy. Maybe people let me know down below in the comments.
My opinion on that is, if you're coming up with the content, you're coming up with the strategy for the content, the videos, and all sorts of things, I don't think it really matters that much where you're recording it, whether it's against a plain wall or it's a set or things like that. I think where some people get into trouble is when they outsource all their content, the ideas for the content, the titles, the thumbnails, like a Gary Vaynerchuk, right? Yeah. Obviously like a legend on social media in the business space, but he's not coming up with any of that. He has a team doing that. And so it loses some of its authenticity. Yeah. And it just waters down the content over time, and it just doesn't get the type of views it could potentially if maybe he was doing that personally and actually coming up with that. So I think you lose. I think you might lose that. Not. I don't think it really has much to do with the backdrops or sets or anything like that. I think at the end of the day, it's are you coming up with the videos?
But it's also the overhead. It's the mental just toll of how much is this costing me every day? Where can I be using that instead? And just having no overhead, just no expense. It's just. It is. You post a video, it's 99% profit.
But then you can also say, well, what if that property appreciates to $4 million over the next 10 years?
That's true.
So then you can say, well, I could keep that money in cash.
Yeah, there are worse things you could put your assets into.
That's how I justified this property.
Yeah,
was that long term it's going to appreciate. And I think it's a good store of cash. You put your cash in here, it's safe.
Yep. I mean, you could write that property off, and I don't know. Let's say you get it for 1.8. And appreciates to let's say 2.5 over the next 10 years, which would not be good appreciation for LA on historical standards. I think LA appreciates actually probably more than that.
I'm guessing probably 4 to 5%. I'm gonna guess over the next 20 years.
Yeah,
my guess.
And so I mean, cash gets devalued every day, as we know. Yeah. The printer goes and I mean, it might make a lot more financial sense, especially when you start thinking about the write-off side. Gosh. So. It's a
nice place too.
Oh, it's amazing.
So did your channel blow up like instantly at a specific period of time? Because I know it wasn't in the beginning, or was it like a more gradual increase in views?
No, for me, it's always been gradual. I've never had a whoa, he blew up time.
Like you made one change, like Graham went from 2 to 3, and then there was
Graham, he really had this time period, which I knew was going to happen. It's like 2018 all the way into 19, like really the back half of 18. Moving into 19, I was just watching him, and I'm like, he's about to go crazy. And sure enough, it happened. I've never had that period. I've just been, steady growth. I've always, the most important kind of thing I look at is what's average views I'm pulling in per video. And if you just look over time, it's just kind of been like a steady stream up. It's never like I went all of a sudden from 5,000 views a video and I'm getting 100,000 now. No, it's just been steady. It was like, I remember when I started pulling in 10K consistently. And then it was 20K. Then it was kind of 40K. Then it was 60K. Now I'm kind of at a stage where I'm looking for 100K a video. And so, I've never had a whoa, he blew up moment. It's just always been steady growth. And that's one of the things I've always kind of strived for, because I've always wanted people that really stick with me, believe in my investment philosophies, respect my investment philosophies, and are willing to watch my channel grow and watch me grow and watch my investments grow, and hopefully, people that watch my channel make a lot of money. That's as long as I'm helping people make money, people don't forget about that. They keep coming back to you, and I think that's why I've just been able to consistently grow year after year after year. Is at the end of the day, most of the people watching my channel, I think, are making money as long as they're sticking to my investment philosophies and focusing on things I look at. And so, therefore, more and more people are like, okay, I watched him last year, and I got this gain. I'm going to watch him this year and next year.
Do you get people angry if they lose money?
Not really.
Like what happened in March and April when just the markets tanked? Did you ever get anybody being like, listen, man, I listened to your investment. I invested my $50,000. It's all the money I have. It's down to 30, 20. What's up, man?
Not really, because something I always try to explain to people is the volatility of the market. Like, you have to be ready for this. This is not just a one-way game. And I think that's where... I could probably get a lot more sales from my private group if I was to just talked about the ups, but something I love to talk about is the downs, like mistakes I made in the market. Like, you have to be ready to go down on money. If the market gets really bad for a month or a few months or a year, you just have to be ready for that. So I never really get that type of negativity, I think, because I explain it well. I explain, the risks in stocks. I always put it as worst case scenario. I'm like, worst case scenario, you put money in the stock, it goes to zero. I even bring that out in videos sometimes, and just kind of putting in people's mind, dude, you could lose everything, and it's like that for any investment. And I think because I bring it around that way, it's another reason why the community is just at a higher intelligence level than maybe some of these other, channels that are out there, because my people understand the risk and the reward. And that's something I really try to bring out. And that's why I never really am scared to talk about my failures, because by talking about my failures, it makes people realize, oh, there's risk in here. Mm-hmm. So,
do you think you have to be intelligent to be a stock trader or investor?
I think you have to have a certain level of intelligence in terms of really emotional intelligence. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's necessarily how to do calculus level, blah, blah, blah. I think it's more just having that emotional control to, Graham, we were talking about a little earlier, I think in this podcast, where it's just knowing not to get too emotional and
view things objectively.
Decisions. Yeah. If you would objectively, not try to get in and out because you feel an emotion today about something, and really just going off the fundamentals. The emotions and being able to stay disciplined is the most important thing. Mm-hmm. It really is. It's the most important thing when it comes to investing. I could teach somebody all the strategies in the world, and do this, look for this in a stock. If they're not disciplined, they're going to go off the rails and they're going to do some crazy stuff, which some people get into, and some people make short-term money off that. The Wall Street bets community sometimes. Mm-hmm. Most of the time it ends bad. So yeah.
Do you ever buy stocks and then sell the next day?
Yeah, in terms of short-term, very rarely, because I look into these companies fully, understand the fundamentals, and usually if I'm buying for multi-years out. I will sometimes sell earlier, usually I'm looking 3 to 5 years out in a company. I could potentially sell before 3 to 5 years, but it's because usually the fundamentals changed with the business model. So it's not the same company I bought into, just different decisions were made. And it's whoa, this is not the same. Or if it went up too fast, and it made too much money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes that happens with stocks. They just go up way more than you ever expected, way too fast. The valuation maybe doesn't make sense. And it's just take a profit. So, that's kind of the way I view it.
What were your biggest wins and biggest losses in the market?
Biggest wins and biggest losses, oh boy. So my biggest win currently is Tesla. That's my biggest win currently. Some of my...
Not ever.
No, if I sold it today, yeah. Because it's well over a 6-figure profit, and I don't think I've ever made 6-figure profit from a stock ever. Mm-hmm. I don't recall. I've made 5 figures many times in many stocks. Cabela's was a great investment of mine back in the day. Trinity Industries... Cirrus Logic's been a good investment of mine multiple times throughout the market. I'm trying to think of some others. There's been a lot of successes. The worst one was GoPro. That was my worst stock ever. And that was well documented on the channel. That was a fun one to go through. That one's just everything didn't work out. They failed at everything. And then my worst one currently, which is actually I think one of my only red stocks, is CCL. Mm-hmm. And that one's massively negative right now. I think we're down
What price you buying it?
40s, 41. Ooh. Yeah, we're down 50%, if not a little over 50% on that one. That one's just gone so bad. But
have you thought about doubling down now and just being let's invest more while it's down?
I thought about it, and I thought about it even lower. But at the end of the day, I just don't want to risk more money in that one. Yeah, I'm just kind of
more confident in other stocks.
Yeah, exactly. I'm I look at some of these other stocks. I'm there's more upside in this stock, that stock. Why do I want to buy more CCL? So... But I try not to judge myself too hard on CCL. I judge myself a lot more hard on what happened with GoPro, and that was more a 2016-17 investment rather than CCL, because CCL got caught into a once-in-a-100 year, Roni Rona situation. And that just, what are you going to do? The cruise industry's always like a very profitable industry. Even if there's a normal recession, like, yeah, business is down, but it's not down like where you're shut down. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, that's my
for
worst
you,
one ever.
then wouldn't this be a really good time to just throw some money in them?
Well, the problem is we don't know how this is going to recover because we've never been through it. So there's a lot of people very confident that we're going to, get back really strong, really fast. I don't know. And I don't know if we're going to have a second wave. And what happens if we do have a second wave and the economy actually has to shut down again?
If the economy shuts down again, I mean, the drop is going to be worse than I think the first time. But I just can't imagine. I think at that level, they would just say, well, we don't have a choice. Like, we're going to have to get through this.
Yeah.
And now we're a little bit more prepared. We have more information at our disposal. Handle it. I just can't imagine them shutting it down again.
Let's hope not.
I really can't imagine.
Yeah, let's hope not. But the other thing is a consumer psyche. If it takes off again, you have a certain segment of customers who are already not engaging with businesses right now because they're scared for health reasons. They don't want to go out, right? And that's you got this segment over here. You have the segment that's in the middle that they're like, oh, I'll go out, but I won't do as much. You have the segment of customers who don't care. If we have the Rona take off again really bad, then that segment's still going to definitely not come out. This segment that's in the middle is probably going to move more right to not come out as well, which will make for a much longer recession. And then this segment's probably going to move to the middle. And that's where I get scared, not just in terms of, is the government going to shut us down again? But what's the consumer psyche around going out, going to my city, Vegas, going to the beaches, going to the restaurants? If we have it take back off big time again and the numbers balloon and the hospitals get filled, that remains to be seen. And so I think it's, I think it's something you have to think through right now. And I think it's why you still have to keep some cash around, even though, assets are continuing to increase right now. I think real estate prices were up the last couple of months, which is like, who, what, how in this environment?
That's all it is.
Yeah. And you look at the stock market last 2 months, like up huge. And it's like,
low supply.
What?
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. But at the end of the day, I think with that risk, you should always keep a level of cash, but I think you still have to right now because there's that risk, man. If this takes back off in the fall, I mean, the numbers are still growing right now. And then what happens if they really start, growing exponentially? I don't know. We could be optimistic though. Let's hope for the best.
I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
And Graham, your biggest win was on Tesla too, right?
Overall, yeah, Tesla. Yeah, 260 was my average. 258, 262.
Was your average price?
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting. I think we should discuss this. Graham's been investing more and more stocks lately. I've been investing more and more in real estate. The whole world is screwed up right now. Like, what is going on? But I would talk to us for a moment about you and investing. Like, what's inspired you to put more and more money into stocks?
I think it's just, first of all, I've known for a long time I need to be more diversified because everything went into real estate, and I started thinking like at this point I could take less risk and just I need to diversify and do some safer investments. Then when everything dropped so dramatically, I'm like, well, I have all this cash that I've been sitting waiting to buy like a good real estate deal that's just sitting there. I may as well start buying in. So I made the mistake of I didn't want to put all my money in at once. Yeah. So I started buying in bit by bit, but as I started buying in, prices kept going up. And so I kept buying in, and prices kept, continuing to go up. Yeah. But in that, I made some good investments, and I made some that, I bought a little bit too high. Denny's was one of them. Okay. That just bought too high. A lot of the rest, Cheesecake Factory, I got in pretty low. A Cheesecake Factory. So that was, I think.
Ticker symbol cake, right?
Yeah, cake. I think I'm up 25-30% on cake. Wow. So there's some of them I'm up a lot. Boeing was another one. 128 is when I started Boeing, and I think I spent 30 grand or 30 or 40 grand. Boeing at 128.
Yeah, Boeing's one of the few stocks I feel like, they kind of got caught up too much in the whole storm because Boeing had issues before. They already had issues, 737 MAX. But then on top of that, you had this, and airplane orders are going to get pushed out for probably the next few years. Yeah. But at the end of the day, there's two companies in the world that really dominate the whole, industry. It's them and Airbus. Yeah. And then also they're military, so the government would never allow them to go under. No. So when I looked at that one, I was like, this is dumb that I don't buy Boeing stock, especially when I saw it under 100, because I'm like, they're not going under. But yeah, that was a great pickup by you.
But yeah, so then when it dropped below the 170 mark, I think I bought more around 175. Okay. So that's been a good one for me. But I just see like right now I'm looking at how much is my time worth and where can I get the best return for my time.
Okay.
And I feel like my time is not best spent right now going and trying to find a real estate deal here where I can make, it's going to take me a few months to find a good deal, close on it, renovate it. My time is better spent just earning less money on my investments, but doing something safer.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's more potential now in hard hit stocks and just index fund investing for my time.
Yes.
Spent real estate investing right now.
Yeah, right now. Yep. No, that makes 100% sense.
So that's why. But a lot of these companies too, honestly, like Cheesecake Factory is a perfect example where the stock price went down like 80% or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
And I would go to the Cheesecake Factory and every single time I'd go there, there's a line out the door. And I'm thinking
wow,
if I can't be the only one going and just like ordering from the Cheesecake Factory, I'm being really excited for them to open it. There's a line and I'm like, this is going to come back big. So that's why that was Cheesecake Factory. American Express was another company I did really well in.
That's
up another, 25 or 30% American Express.
Yeah, that's not really a dangerous stock at all.
That was something I'm like,
American
listen, American Express, those customers are not going to be as affected by this. American Express is continuing to grow. I like their credit cards a lot. Great. JP Morgan.
Oh, yeah.
Was another company.
The banks are almost government backed now at this point in time.
JP Morgan, Bank of America. So a lot of these banks, it was like, I like JP Morgan. I think they got a good bank. They got a good credit card.
Yep.
I'm going to throw money in them. So a lot of these companies I did just buy because I felt like I use them myself. I like them.
I wish Wells Fargo would.
I lost money in Wells Fargo. So I put money in Wells Fargo thinking like, how much worse can they get? They're I think, a horribly run company. But they're trying to change their image. They're trying to turn things around. I'm like, it can't get much worse from here, right? Well, it did. It went down.
Wells Fargo is my biggest loss to date, I think. Either that or GE. They're pretty neck and neck.
Okay.
But...
No, I got a really important question to ask though. When Grahamstephan goes to Cheesecake Factory, do you buy a piece of cheesecake? Because the margins they're making on that are insane.
We got a coupon. There was a Black Friday deal where if you buy like a $25 gift card, you get 2 free cheesecakes.
Oh,
so I did that because I'm like, then it's like for $25.
Yeah.
The cheesecakes are $8 each, so it's really like it's worth it. So I did that.
That's got to be the main place they make money, man. That slice of cheesecake can't cost more than
$8.
Yeah, it's $8. Jeez. Yeah, for a slice of cheesecake. It's really good cheesecake there. But honestly, I like Cheesecake Factory because their portions are so big. For like $15, you get this burger that's just like enormous with a side of like a salad, fries. Yeah. Like, you split that in half. It's really $7.50 a meal. But look at Cheesecake Factory, man. It's trading at $24 a share. Was 50, and look at it was very steady.
Yep, in the 40s.
Almost 6% dividend, and now it's trading at half. But I look at this just as someone who's not that into stocks, and I see like, okay, it was a $50 stock, and I think people are gonna go back to the Cheesecake Factory. But even if they don't, even if fewer people go, 70% of the people end up going back. If it's a 24, it should be a $35 stock, right? So how good is that logic? I'm like, it's trading at 25. Why can't I just go and it should be worth 35 based on the previous years of this?
As long as business returns, that's the biggest key. But at the end of the end, that's another thing. Like you can make money in the stock market without being on the level that I am, or I try to train people to get to that level. The reason I really do what I do and I research these companies, I listen to conference calls, I put in all the time, is to way outperform the stock market. The public count, it was like Fidelity has had like what, a 74% gain. Mm-hmm. That's why I do it. Not just from the perspective of like, but you can still make money in the stock. Like you're making money, like you're doing very well for yourself, right? You could buy an index fund. You can still no matter which way you slice it, you have to participate in the stock market. I feel like if you're not, you're just losing money. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? And you don't have to do day trading. You don't have to do any of that crazy stuff. It doesn't work for 90+% of people, right? You don't have to go there. But if you're not participating in some way in the stock market, it's usually just a big mistake. It really is. It really is.
I felt like such a genius though in March because I had all this cash just waiting for real estate. Yeah, couldn't find a deal, and then it dropped, and I was just like, oh, I did it. I did it. I timed the market. This is great. But I didn't invest all my money. Like I should have looked back at that and just all in. Yeah. Well, I started buying in there, but still, I feel like part of me and just like I feel like I missed some of that run up. Yeah. I look back, it's like, I could have saved so much money by just buying it, but you never know. Even now, in hindsight, things might be a lot.
When did you first meet Graham, and what was your impression of him?
So first met Graham, and I think it was 2017. And I can't remember if he reached out on maybe Snapchat, right?
I think it was either email.
Oh, it could have been email.
Yeah,
it could have been email. And at that time, I was kind of like, I was different back then. I was kind of like in this zone where I'm like, I don't really want to talk to anybody. That's another creator. Yeah. I didn't like mix with anybody. And I'm complete opposite now. Like I reach out to like YouTubers that are on the come up and try to like help them and guide them and things like that. But back then I was very like, I'm in my own lane. I'm doing my own thing. Don't bother me. I don't care who you are. But, Graham was one of the people that I was open to. And, he had I don't know what his channel size was back then, but it was, a smaller channel. Mm-hmm. And I remember, I think the first time we met, you came over to my house.
Yep.
And whatever house I was living in at that time, I think it was in Vegas, somewhere. But yeah, and it was just awesome. We met, we talked.
I remember that.
I think my parents were in town. Yeah.
Yes, in your backyard. Yeah.
And I remember, this is a funny story about Graham. It was our first time meeting. And, we're talking and stuff. And then like 20 minutes in, he's like, hey, listen, you mind if I do this I got to order this specific like laptop. There's a really good deal on B&H Photo.
Friday.
Yeah. Something
Black
like
Friday,
that. Yeah, right around then. He's like, do you mind if I do this real quick? It's just a really good deal. And I was like, go for it. Typical Grahamstephan fashion. He's going to save some money. Even his first time meeting somebody. But no, it was good. We talked a bit. And then we kind of built our relationship from there. Later on down the road, we did a conference together. I remember it was in 2018. Which a funny story about that is, our channels were at very different places back then, and our personal brands were at very different places. I remember how hard it was to sell tickets to that conference.
Oh yeah,
it was incredible. I mean, I think
I didn't like the name of it.
Yeah, no, there was so
it was called like the building.
We had no clue. We had no clue what we were doing. Our personal brands were we were still on like the come up.
Yeah,
we could pack that place for like 1,000 nights nowadays, but like back then, it's just like it was ridiculous. But no, and that was fun, and we've just built our relationship from there. And he's one of the few like friends I actually have on YouTube where like it's like not just about like YouTube. I'm not just like trying to use him as like a a person. I'm like there's actually a friendship there, and I don't have a lot of people in the space. There's very few I have that are I can really call friends, because my biggest thing is like I don't like to have a lot of people. That I'm not one of those type of people that likes to have a lot of people in my life. Because my time's limited. And so I always look at it as if I want to conversate with you or talk with you on somewhat of a regular basis, like you have to be important, you know what I mean? Because, we do think about money, right? Mm-hmm. And if you're spending all this time with all these different people, at the end of the day, you're not really thinking about, what's the next investment opportunity.
You want to be friends with someone who lifts you up.
Yes.
Bounce ideas off.
Yeah.
Like I like that we could talk, and then I feel like I leave that conversation and be like, ooh, I get so many new ideas and things to think about, and like that was good. And I don't like just hanging out with people where all of a sudden you feel like you leave it and you're like, oh.
Yes, drained. Yeah,
exactly.
It's a different perspective. And honestly, there's not a lot of people that really think like us. So to find somebody else that is like on the same wavelength is like amazing, because we're and I remember my wife was talking about it. She's like, sometimes I feel like I can't really interrupt you and Graham when you're talking, because you guys are just on this whole other like level of talking about algorithm and thumbnail details, and like we get into so in depth on some of these subjects. But it's nice to have somebody in the space that's really thinking about the kind of stuff I'm thinking about, and like we can because it's really not like, once you get into this, it's like
you find a lot of wackos.
Yes.
Space.
100%.
Yeah, not to call anybody, but people are all just like, how can I make money right now? How can I make money? And that's it.
Yeah.
So there's no longevity to
exactly.
it. It's like, what's today?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sale. Like, that's all it is.
And that's another thing. Yeah. I've been wanting to build relationships with people that are going to be here for like the long term. That's kind of the way I view it. And I'm like, I don't want to build relationships with people that are just like here today and gone tomorrow type thing.
There's a lot of them who just
most
pop
of them
up
on social
really
media.
Quick,
yep.
And then they're big for a year, and then they cash out.
Yep.
They find a way to cash out.
Yep.
And they're done.
Yeah. Because I plan on being here for the long term. So I'm like, if I want to build relationships in the space, whoever I want to build relationships with, it has to be people that like I like, one, but two, also I think are going to be here for the long term. I think it's really important. Like there's a lot of quick money people on social media. They just want to make quick money and get out. And, if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. But I'm just like, why not build a long-term personal brand that people appreciate and love for,
because it takes
decades.
Work.
It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of care. It takes a lot of attention. And on social media, the thing is, you can scale some people can scale really fast if they, figure out something and then they make some money and then they dip because they're like, they get content too. A lot of people, they make $1 million.
Or they start getting a reputation, which seems a lot more common.
Yeah.
They make money until something happens.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I'm out.
Yep. 100%. Yeah.
Or they were using shady techniques from the beginning that we knew it was coming, and it's like, it happened.
Oh, and we've talked about many people in the space 1,000 times, and we always can call it out. We're like, this person's going down next, this person's going down next. And it's just what happens, man. But there's a few key players in the financial space that are going to be here for the long term, and there's a lot of people on the come up, and we're going to see who can take it to that level and get to bigger numbers. So. But yeah, no, Graham's awesome, man. That's all I got to say.
Got the
one of my favorite people.
Thanks.
One of my favorite people.
Thanks.
Do you admire Graham's frugality? Do you think he goes too far with it? And are you frugal in any way?
Yeah, I think Graham goes too far with it. I've shared this with him before. I think Graham is way too conservative with his money. So my kind of views on money comes, money goes. But as long as you got like this mind, I have a non-scarcity mindset nowadays. And I don't mean to go to a place where you're spending every dollar that comes in, or even close to that, because I don't even get remotely close to that level. But I will say, for Graham is too much, man. It's too much for the type of money he has and makes.
It just doesn't go.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the only difference.
It never goes.
It
never goes anywhere. Oh my gosh! But I'm like, But at the same time, I've learned to respect it. Because it's who Graham is.
He wouldn't be where he is now without that mindset.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. I played that to my favorite. It's funny. I actually make money from saving money.
Yeah, exactly.
My brand.
Yeah.
It's just because I've saved so much, it makes me more money to talk about saving.
I always thought about myself as a frugal person, and my wife, she always thought of me as a really frugal person until we started hanging out with Graham, and she's like, "Oh, he's the next level. He's the next level of frugal."
I've been getting better though. I've been getting better.
Yeah. I think he sometimes just got to get out of that scarcity mindset. I don't, like I said, I don't even spend remotely close to what I make in a month. It's not even like close. I invest most of my money or it goes to cash, one of those two areas. But I'm willing to spend on, if I want to spend money, it has to mean something to me though. I don't just spend money to spend money. There's certain things like I don't honestly care that much about clothing. I probably bought these shorts I'm wearing for, I don't know, $30-$40. I got this shirt at the Wynn for, I don't know, $40. That's not like I wear designer suits. Or this watch I'm wearing probably cost me $300 or $400. I don't wear a $10,000, $20,000 watch, because a $10,000 or $20,000 watch for me means nothing. In respect,
I don't get the watch.
Yeah, I know you love watches. For me, I'm just like, I literally don't care. I just want it to look cool. I don't care if it's a Rolex or this brand. So I am about like spending money. I bought Teslas, very expensive, right? A performance.
What's the car you took here?
I brought the Model X, but that's because I came with the family, although they went back with my brother-in-law. But, that's a very expensive. The Model X is like $100K. The Model 3 was like $60K. That's a lot. That's like $160K in 2 cars. But those mean something to me. Like I really enjoy those,
right.
Especially the Model 3. Taking you in a Graham, it's like, it's fun, man. So as long as it means something to me, I'll spend the money, and as long as it's not going overboard, that's my biggest thing. So Graham, he's extra, man.
It's real. It's not just an act.
No, it's not. It's
getting
not
better though.
Just a couple more questions.
Okay.
Did you go to college?
I did go to college, for like 2.5 years, went to like community college.
Then you dropped out?
Yep, then I dropped out. I started working at Quick Trip, and also college was so dang expensive. I had to pay my own way in community college, and that was fairly cheap. I was able to pay with that without going in debt.
Yeah.
But I would have had to pay my way through university, and I was just looking at it, and I was like, I started at Quick Trip, and I was going to make like $40-$50K a year and just stash most of that money. So I was like, forget this. I don't want to take out a bunch of debt, go to university and kind of go that route. So I started doing the Quick Trip thing, and then I started investing simultaneously most of that money that was coming in. And that's how I built my first nest egg. That's how I started my business. That's how I started my YouTube channel.
And it was immediately worth it?
100%. Yeah, because I got that job where I was already making decent money, which I was like 20, 21, and 40-50K in Arizona goes a long way.
Right.
Especially during, that was right coming out of the Great Recession. So jobs are still hard to come by. So getting that, funneling that money into stocks and just getting the gains and just like keeping that money going, it was a game changer. I don't like look back and like, oh, I regret that. Like that was a great decision. And because I wouldn't have been able to build up that nest egg, I feel, if I went to college. It would have put me further behind the 8 ball, because I would have taken out debt, had to pay debt, down rather than invest that money. It would have slowed the process. I probably wouldn't be able to work at Quick Trip and go to university at the same time. So yeah, looking back, it was one of the best decisions I ever made financially for me, was to actually drop out.
Would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
What? 100 duck-sized horses, or one
Horse-sized duck.
One horse-sized duck?
So you got a big duck, or you have 100 small
mini
horses.
I think I'd rather do the one big one because I could focus on just that one big one.
Wow.
The first person to have said
First
that.
person
Yeah,
to say that.
I'd rather just focus on the one big one, and also I would feel bad about myself beating up a bunch of small little cute horses.
These are feral horses, though.
Still, let's just go against the big one.
Wow.
First person to say that.
First person.
Let's go against the big one, and I'll focus on that one. It might eat me alive, but we'll go for that one, okay?
The next one though is what is it? Is cereal a soup?
Oh yeah, is cereal a soup?
Cereal a soup. Oh shoot, that's deep. Why is such a deep question? Is cereal a soup? I'm gonna say no.
No. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Is a hot dog a sandwich? Yes. I would say a hot dog's a sandwich.
Said it's not a sandwich.
I mean, a hot dog's a hot dog, but if we're gonna put it in a group, I feel like it's a sandwich because it's got 2 pieces of bread on each side and it's a meat in the middle. I could consider it a sandwich.
I said it wasn't a sandwich because the 2 pieces of bread
are connected.
Ooh, but you can disconnect it though.
I know, but they come
connected. Okay, yeah, I can see that.
And the final one is what was the first person that was milking a cow trying to do? Or what? Why did they do that?
Milking a cow. They were bored. I'll be honest.
So you think they were just like, oh, what's this thing? I'm just gonna start squeezing.
Yeah. Back in the day, it was boring. Let's be honest. Like, there was no TV. There was no internet. People are bored. What the heck are you going to do? You're just sitting there looking at the clouds all day? Okay, wait.
I mean, if you do see an udder, it's hard not to think, like, yeah, I kind of want to touch that.
You think that. I guess.
Yeah, I don't think I would want to mess around down there. I'd be afraid I'd get kicked. But hey, I think it was boredom. Okay.
All right, so I think we're good.
You get your finger or your hand and you go like that.
With that said, you guys.
Okay.
All right, ready?
1, 2, 3.
So with that said, you guys, thank you so much for watching. And oh, do you have your 2 free stocks on Weeble?
I don't have that. Okay, no.
Yes,
Use the referral link. Get 2 free stocks.
I'll say it. You could use the referral link down below. Get your 2 free stocks. We've been talking about the stock market this entire time. Get your 2 free stocks on Weeble. Make sure to destroy the like button, subscribe button, and notification bell. We'll link to your channel down below. Jack's information down below. Just go down below.
Smash the thumb. Obliterate that button. Obliterate it!
Yeah, there you go. So, thank you so much for watching, and
until next time.
Until next time. All right, one of them.
I thought that the entire episode, all 3 of us were like this. The entire episode, our arms were just like this. I could not stop.
I was trying not to go with both elbows because I was like, that would look really bad. So I would be
so
like,
hard to
putting
find
it
a
like
comfort.
this.
Yeah, I was like moving my arms the entire time.
There we go, man.
That was a
awesome.
great episode. Thank you so much for.
Thanks for having me. That was fun.
That's
Graham and I literally haven't done a video since 2018, so you know it's fun to do something.